Vital records.
Hey there, I needed to speak to someone about requesting a birth certificate.
Your own or somebody else's?
Well, it belongs to the state of Nebraska, so it can't be mine.
Are you getting a copy of your birth record or somebody else's birth record?
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, but doesn't Nebraska own the birth certificate? The state of Nebraska?
Okay. Are you trying to get a copy, though, of whose information?
Correct. Yeah. I'm looking.
Yours or somebody else's?
Well, it's not mine. I'm looking for a copy of that which belongs to the state of Nebraska.
I'm not trying to be difficult, but whose record of information are you trying to get?
Well, help me with the confusion here. Does Nebraska own the birth certificate or not?
Nebraska files the birth certificates. Whose information are you seeking?
Well, it would be Nebraska's, right? They own it.
Okay, what's your question?
Okay, I'm trying to find out how I can get a copy of the birth certificate which belongs to State of Nebraska Corporation.
Regarding which individual?
The child's name on the birth certificate.
And what is that? What would that be?
Well, it's not mine, and so what I'm trying to avoid happening here.
You're trying to get a hold of somebody else's record, right?
First, just bear with me here. What I'm trying to avoid here is doing anything illegal. You see, if I were to use the child's name to request and use that birth certificate that doesn't belong to me, that would be theft. It's illegal to use the birth certificate and the child's name, which is the legal name. Right?
I don't think we're communicating on the same level here.
So if you own something and I just start using it without your permission, isn't that wrong? That's the same situation here, right? The state of Nebraska owns the birth certificate.
Sir, but I really am not following your train of thought at all.
Okay, let me just be real brief here. It's illegal to use the birth certificate and the legal names. Can I get written permission to use the child's name on the birth certificate and the birth certificate itself? Can I get written permission to do that?
Written permission to use a birth certificate and a name that's on it.
Yeah, because the state of Nebraska owns that. They own the name, everything on the birth certificate. It's all theirs. All I can do is request a copy. So what I'm wanting is written permission to use that which is not mine. I don't own the name.
You need to speak with a supervisor on this because I'm not following your request, your process at all.
Well, do you realize that the state of Nebraska owns the birth certificate?
Well, they maintain the records. They file them here. And that record, for example, a birth certificate comes into our office that was filed by the hospital where a child was born. So a child was born, the parents gave us the information they wanted put on the record, the birth certificate filed, then created the birth record and sent it to us. We filed it permanently. People write in all the time. They want to request a copy of their own birth certificate or a certified copy of one of their children's birth certificates or even sometimes their parents' birth certificate. They want a certified copy of what we have on file.
Right.
We issue it to them.
Right.
Now, you're not wanting that, though, huh?
Now, well, here's the thing. The child's name on the birth certificate and the birth certificate itself, if it's mine, then you guys can give it to me. I don't need a copy.
Right.
I don't need a copy. You can give me the original.
A certified copy is what we give you. We maintain the original always in our files because people lose their records. And if they lost that original record, they'd never be able to get another copy. They'd never be able to prove who they were. So we keep the certified copy in or the original in our files so we can always make original copies for people.
Right, but what I'm saying is that name is not mine if it cannot be given to me. It's not mine. Someone else, some corporation owns that.
So you know we can't give it to you, so I'm not following why you're calling in then today.
Because it seems...
No, we can't give it to you already.
Well, you can give it to me if I misrepresent the idea that I own the name, the child's name, which I don't. I'm just one of these rare people that I'm not going to misrepresent something. So what I'm looking for is if...
Well, when a person makes a request, we ask to see the ID they're using.
Well, how is that possible?
We ask them to fill out the information so we can identify that, yes, they do know the information that's on this record. Yes, their ID matches the name on the record. Therefore, we can give them a certified copy of the record.
Do you see the circular problem there? I would have to provide ID, which in the first place takes the birth certificate.
We hundreds of records a day, and it's not a problem for anybody else.
Here's what I'm saying. I don't.
Is this a problem?
It's a problem because you're not hearing me. I can't give you an ID. I don't have an ID because that requires a birth certificate. So how could I provide you an ID to get a birth certificate when, in fact, the ID required a birth certificate?
Alternative IDs, such as signed Social Security card.
That requires a birth certificate. You cannot get a Social Security card without a birth certificate.
Are you married?
Did you hear me? How do you get a Social Security card without a birth certificate? Why do you guys not know this?
You've never had a birth certificate. You've never had a Social Security card. You've never had any ID.
Never. That belongs to Nebraska, state of.
Okay, I'm going to give you Mr. Cooper's. He's the service administrator.
Okay.
He is at lunch. He'll be back. But you can call and leave a message on his line. I'll let him work with you. And his number, are you ready?
I'm ready. Uh-huh.
Okay, 402-471-0915.
And that is, what's the Mr. Cooper's?
His name is Stanley Cooper. He's the service administrator for Vital Records.
Service administrator. Okay, I'll try and give him a call back. What would be a better time? In an hour or so?
Yes, in about an hour. Okay.
Alrighty. Ma'am, I'd like to give you a website in case you're curious to know where I'm coming from. It's called losethename.com.
Losethename.com.
Yeah, and it'll go into what I'm talking to, or you can Google legal name fraud, but it all comes down to this fact. It's illegal to use that which is not ours to use. And the birth certificate is the state of Nebraska. So it's illegal
for anybody to use a birth certificate?
The only people who have legal... No, There's actually one group that's exempted from that, and that's attorneys. Attorneys have the legal privilege of using legal names and legal birth certificates and any legal document, really. And so what I'm trying to find out, because...
if it's illegal for you to use it, I guess I'm not sure why you're bothering to call and try and get a copy.
As I said earlier, I was looking for written legal permission to use it so that I could request it and then use it. I'm looking for two things: legal permission to use the child's name.
It's good enough that we're releasing a copy to you. That doesn't imply enough.
You can't release a copy to me unless I use the child's name, which belongs to the state of Nebraska Corporation. They have a copyright on that.
Well, Nebraska isn't a corp, but okay, I'll let you talk with Mr. Cooper.
Do you get well, hold on a second. Don't you get a paycheck from the state of Nebraska?
From the state, yeah.
Yeah, and so you can only get a paycheck from a legal entity.
Yeah, it's a legal entity. It's not a corporation.
Yes, the state of Nebraska is a legally created corporation. It's a subcorporation of the United States.
Okay, you say so.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.